The heart monitor beside Ava Bennett's hospital bed kept firing off the same sharp beep, beep, beep. 4 seconds apart. She knew because she'd counted them. 136 times. Counting was easier than thinking. Thinking meant remembering the headlights, the crunch of metal, the smell of burnt rubber. The pickup truck that came flying through a red light like traffic laws were just polite suggestions. 3 hours earlier, Ava had been leaving her architecture firm's downtown office after another 14-hour workday fueled by stale coffee and impossible deadlines. Now she was sitting in Mercy Regional Hospital, wearing a paper wristband and a borrowed hoodie, trying not to breathe too deep because every inhale stabbed her ribs like broken glass. 2 cracked ribs, mild kidney bruising, hairline wrist fracture. That's what the ER doctor had said. Technically survivable. Emotionally, I'm still loading. A nurse handed her phone back in a clear plastic bag. You should call somebody. Somebody. Funny word. Ava scrolled to Mom and pressed dial. Second ring. Immediate pickup. Relief flooded her chest so fast it almost hurt worse than the ribs. Mom. Oh, honey, hey! I'm at the hospital. Silence. Then voices in the background. Loud ones. Music. Women talking over each other. Her younger sister Chloe's voice cut through the noise. Mom, tell them the ivory flowers, not cream. Why is nobody listening to me? Ava closed her eyes. Right? The wedding. She'd forgotten tonight was another pre-wedding planning crisis. Mom, Ava said carefully, I was in a car accident. A pause. Not panic. Not fear. Just logistical inconvenience. Oh my God, are you okay? I mean, not really. I'm alone here. Chloe shouted again in the background. Something about table linens. Her mother lowered the phone. A muffled argument, then, Ava, sweetheart, Chloe's having a really rough night with the venue people. Can I call you back in a bit? Ava actually thought she'd misheard her. What? We'll check on you soon, okay? Click. Call ended. Just like that. The monitor kept beeping. 4 seconds. 4 seconds. 4 seconds. The room suddenly felt way too quiet. Ava stared at the ceiling tiles. Not crying. Not angry. Just weirdly unsurprised. That part hurt most. Because if she was honest, some small part of her had expected exactly that response. She reached for her phone again. Her thumb hovered over contacts. Mom, no. Chloe, definitely not. She almost gave up. Then she dialed the one number she knew by memory. Ethan Cole, her father's estate attorney. Not a friend. Not family. Just the man she'd worked with for 2 years handling paperwork after her father died. Professional. Calm. Annoyingly composed. The kind of person who alphabetized legal binders for fun. He answered on the third ring. Ava? His voice immediately sharpened. You okay? No. The word cracked coming out. She hated that. I'm at Mercy Regional. A beat of silence. What happened? Car accident. Jesus. Nothing life-threatening. Are you alone? She looked around the empty room. Yeah. Another silence. Different this time. Focused. Problem-solving silence. Give me 30 minutes. No, Ethan, you don't have to. I'm leaving now. The line disconnected. Ava blinked at the phone. 32 minutes later, Ethan walked into her hospital room wearing dark slacks, an untucked dress shirt, and the expression of a man who'd skipped dinner and didn't care. He carried his leather document bag. Of course he did. Even in emergencies. Attorney behavior. He pulled a chair beside the bed. What did the doctor say? She explained. The injuries. The crash. The call with her mother. He listened quietly. No interruptions. No fake sympathy speeches. Just listening. Weirdly, it helped. After a long pause, Ava stared toward the dark hospital window. Can I ask you something? Always. My dad's estate. Ethan leaned back slightly. Professional mode activated. What about it? The unfinished amendment? His expression changed almost invisibly. The one Dad never signed. Yes. What exactly would have changed? Ethan studied her carefully. Why now? Just answer me. He took off his glasses, rubbing one lens slowly. The unsigned amendment would have divided ownership of the Aspen Lake property between you, your mother, and Chloe. And without that amendment, the original will stands. And the original says, you remain sole controlling beneficiary. The words hung in the room. Heavy. Clear. Unavoidable. Ava swallowed slowly. For 2 years, she'd handled estate meetings, tax filings, property maintenance, rental accounts, insurance renewals, while her mother focused on keeping the family together. While Chloe planned engagement parties, bridal showers, and mood boards that somehow cost more than small weddings. And Ava? Ava paid bills, solved problems, stayed quiet, because somebody had to. Interesting, she said softly. Ethan folded his hands. That's one word for it. She looked over at him. The lake house. Yes? Didn't my mom mention selling it a few months ago? His pause answered before his words did. She spoke to a realtor. Ava turned sharply. What? Informally. You knew? I flagged it in our review meeting. Memory hit her. A rushed Tuesday afternoon. Estate paperwork. Her half-eaten salad. She'd barely been listening. She was actually exploring a sale? It appears that way. Without asking her. Without discussing ownership. Without anything. Ava laughed softly. Not because it was funny. Because suddenly everything made an ugly kind of sense. The casual assumptions. The way her mother redecorated rooms at the lake house. The renovation invoices mysteriously routed through estate accounts. The language. Our property. Family house. What we'll do with it. Not once had anyone said, Ava's property? The monitor beeped again. She wasn't counting anymore. Her phone buzzed. Mom calling. 11:14 p.m. Ava stared at the screen. Ethan noticed. You don't have to answer. Oh no, she said quietly. I think I do. She picked up. Ava, honey, I'm so sorry about earlier. Her mother sounded warm. Practiced. Concern switched on like a lamp. Things got insane here. How are you feeling? 2 fractured ribs, wrist fracture. Oh, sweetheart. A pause. Then? Good news, though. Chloe got the florist situation figured out. Ava almost laughed again. Actually laughed. A short, disbelieving sound. What? What? You led with wedding flowers. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. Silence. Dangerous silence. Ava. She stared toward the hospital window. City lights blurred beyond the glass. Mom, did you talk to a realtor about the lake house? Dead silence. There it was. 3 full seconds. Too long. Way too long. Ava, I was just exploring possibilities. Without discussing it with me? Honey, don't make this into something dramatic. The irony nearly took her breath away. I'm lying in a hospital bed after getting hit by a truck. Her voice stayed calm. Almost terrifyingly calm. You called me back to discuss wedding flowers. Ava, and you're quietly trying to sell estate property you don't legally own. That's not fair. No? Her mother exhaled sharply. That house belongs to the family. Ava looked over at Ethan. He said nothing. Just listened. Professional. Still. Present. No, Ava said softly. It doesn't. Silence again. Cold this time. We'll come tomorrow, her mother said finally. We'll talk in person. Ava lowered her eyes to the blanket over her lap. For the first time in years, she felt something unfamiliar. Not guilt. Not obligation. Not exhaustion. Clarity. Pure, clean clarity. Okay, she said. Tomorrow. She hung up. The room stayed quiet. Ethan adjusted the folder on his lap. What would you like to do? Simple question. Massive answer. Ava looked toward the monitor. Toward the bruises forming under hospital fluorescent lights. Toward the realization sitting heavy in her chest. You learn strange things after almost losing control of your car. Sometimes, you realize you've already lost control of your own life long before the accident happened. She met Ethan's eyes. Tomorrow they're coming here. Yes. My mother will apologize. Probably. Chloe will bring flowers. Likely. Then they'll expect everything to go back to normal. Ethan didn't respond. Because they both knew he didn't need to. Ava inhaled carefully through aching ribs. Slow. Painful. Certain. Open your folder. His eyebrows lifted slightly. Ava, open it. He did. Paperwork. Estate files. Property records. Legal authority. Everything she'd spent years avoiding, fully claiming. She looked down at the documents, then back toward the dark hospital window. For the first time since the crash, she wasn't scared. She was done being overlooked. And somewhere deep inside that sterile hospital room, while machines beeped and city lights flickered beyond the glass, something quiet inside Ava Bennett finally stood up. The knock came at 2:13 p.m. Not tentative, not urgent. 3 polite taps from people who still believed they were walking into a normal family visit. Ava looked up from the hospital tray table where untouched soup sat going cold. Across from her, Ethan calmly closed a folder of legal documents. He didn't ask if she was ready. Good attorneys know readiness has nothing to do with moments like this. The door opened. Her mother entered first. Designer tote bag. Carefully arranged concern. The expression of a woman who had rehearsed empathy in the car ride over. Chloe followed, carrying white tulips wrapped in grocery store plastic. Her fiancé Ben trailed behind like a man accidentally walking into a meeting he absolutely didn't want to attend. The room changed the second they noticed Ethan. Tiny shift. Instant tension. "Oh," her mother said, smile faltering. "I didn't realize you had company." Ava sat straighter against the pillows. "My attorney." Nobody moved for a second. Chloe's eyes bounced between Ethan and the paperwork beside him. "Why is your lawyer here?" Direct question. Classic Chloe. Skip emotional accountability. Jump straight to inconvenience. Ethan remained seated, composed as ever. Her mother forced a softer tone. "Honey, this seems a little intense." Ava almost admired the wording. Intense. Like legal representation in a hospital room was somehow stranger than abandoning your daughter after a car accident. Chloe placed the tulips awkwardly on the counter. "We came as soon as we could." Ava looked at the flowers. White tulips. Her least favorite flower. "Of course." After the venue walkthrough, Ava asked calmly. Silence. Quick glance between mother and daughter. Tiny. Guilty. Telling. Her mother sat carefully in the visitor chair. "Ava, sweetheart, we're here now." There it was. The sentence families use when they want punctuality to replace accountability. We're here now. As if delayed love earned the same credit as immediate care. Ethan quietly adjusted a page inside his folder. Not interrupting. Just existing, which somehow made everyone more nervous. Her mother noticed. "Ava, can we maybe have a family conversation privately?" No. The answer landed instantly. No hesitation. No apology attached. Even Ava felt the unfamiliar sharpness of it. Chloe crossed her arms. "Seriously?" "Yes." Ben shifted near the doorway, suddenly fascinated by a hospital hand sanitizer dispenser. Ava turned toward her mother. "Did you contact a realtor about the lake property?" Straight line, no warm-up. No cushioning. The color changed in her mother's face. Small but unmistakable. "Ava, simple question. We were discussing options." "We?" The family. Ethan's pen stopped moving. Tiny sound, barely audible. But Ava noticed. Because lawyers notice language. And after years working estates, so did she. "We," not you. Not your authority as executor. Not the legal owner. Just, "We?" Chloe stepped forward. "Mom was trying to do what made sense." Ava looked at her sister carefully. Made sense for who? For everyone. Interesting. Chloe sighed dramatically. "Oh my God, Ava, not everything is a courtroom." "No," Ava replied softly. "Just the things involving legal property ownership." Ben coughed quietly into his fist. Smart man. Stay neutral. Her mother leaned forward. "This isn't fair." The sentence hit Ava almost harder than the accident. Not fair. Not the ignored phone call. Not unauthorized real estate discussions. Not years of financial assumptions. This was unfair. A strange calm settled over her. Cold clarity. Dangerously useful. She looked toward Ethan. "Could you explain the current estate structure?" The room froze. Her mother's head turned sharply. "Ava." Ethan waited exactly 1 second. Professional courtesy. Opportunity to stop him. Nobody did. He opened the folder. "The act of controlling will identifies Ava Bennett as sole beneficiary of the Denver commercial property and sole authority regarding disposition of the lake property." Silence. Dense. Heavy. Chloe blinked. "What?" Her mother straightened immediately. "That isn't accurate." "It is," Ethan replied evenly. "There was an unsigned amendment proposal. Dad intended. Intentions without executed signatures carry no legal authority. Clean. Precise. Fatal." The room felt smaller. Ava watched realization begin spreading slowly across her mother's face. Not confusion. Recognition. Because deep down, she already knew. She had always known. She had just grown comfortable acting like ambiguity was ownership. Chloe looked genuinely stunned. Wait. She turned toward her mother. You told me the lake house was basically ours. Nobody answered fast enough. And there it was. Truth. Standing naked in fluorescent hospital lighting. Not betrayal born in a single moment. Betrayal built quietly through assumptions. Conversations held without her. Plans made around her. Money mentally allocated before permission ever existed. Her mother's voice lowered. Ava, we can talk through this rationally. We are. You know your father would have wanted us taken care of. The familiar weapon. Dad, memory. Guilt wrapped in family values. Used so often it practically had fingerprints worn into it. Ava inhaled slowly through aching ribs. Pain sparked through her chest. Good. Pain kept things honest. For 3 years, she said quietly, I handled taxes, maintenance, insurance, rental accounting. Nobody spoke. I approved renovations. Silence. I covered expenses. Still silence. I sent income distributions nobody legally required me to send. Her mother opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Because facts are difficult opponents. They don't get emotional. They just stand there. Ava looked directly at Chloe. Where were you during estate meetings? Chloe frowned defensively. I had wedding planning 3 years ago? No answer. Dad's tax audit? Silence. Insurance renewal dispute? Nothing. Property inspection repairs? Chloe looked away. Exactly. The room became unbearably quiet. The monitor beeped steadily beside the bed. Steady. Indifferent. Objective. Unlike people. Her mother tried again. Ava, sweetheart, we made mistakes. That word. Mistakes. Soft word. Convenient word. Like accidentally misplacing car keys. Not systematically leaning on the most reliable person in the room until she forgot she was allowed to say no. Ava looked toward the window. Gray clouds moved slowly over the city skyline. Then she turned back. Calm. Composed. Done apologizing for being organized. Effective next month, she said quietly, the Denver property income distribution changes. Her mother's face tightened instantly. What does that mean? It means informal payments stop. Silence. Cold. Immediate. Chloe's eyes widened. What payments? Oops, wrong question. Wrong room. Wrong audience. Her mother turned sharply toward her daughter. Too late. Way too late. Ava watched the realization ripple through everyone. Interesting. Apparently not everyone had been operating from the same version of the truth. Ethan closed the folder softly. Tiny sound, louder than shouting. Ben took one step backward toward the door. Strategic retreat. Smartest move made all afternoon. Her mother's voice dropped lower. Ava, don't do this. Don't do this. Translation. Don't change the arrangement that benefited us. Ava studied her mother for a long moment. Really looked at her. Not as mom. Not as authority. Just a human being. Flawed. Complicated. Late. Painfully late. And suddenly, unexpectedly, Ava didn't feel rage. She felt grief. Because understanding something isn't the same as excusing it. You know what hurt most? Ava asked quietly. Nobody answered. You didn't ask what hospital room I was in? Silence. Sharp silence. You didn't ask if I needed surgery. Her mother's eyes dropped. You didn't ask whether I was scared. Nobody moved. The monitor kept beeping. 4 seconds apart. 4 seconds. 4 seconds. Ava looked toward the untouched tulips on the counter. Wrong flowers. Late flowers. Performative flowers. Kind of perfect, actually. Then she said the sentence that changed the room forever. Calm voice. No yelling. No tears. Just truth sharpened into clarity. The people who answer the phone when you call from a hospital bed. She looked briefly toward Ethan. Then back at her family. Those are the people who earn access to your future. Nobody breathed. Not visibly. Not for one long, devastating second. Her mother stared at her like she was seeing her daughter clearly for the first time. Not helpful Ava. Not responsible Ava. Not emotionally available emergency contact Ava. Someone else. Someone with boundaries. Someone harder to rearrange. Chloe lowered herself slowly into the chair. Speechless. Actually speechless. A rare medical phenomenon. Outside the hospital window, sunlight broke through heavy clouds, sliding across the buildings downtown. The room remained completely silent. Then, very quietly, Ava reached toward the hospital tray table, picked up the visitor badge her mother had dropped earlier, turned it once between her fingers, and placed it gently beside Ethan's legal folder. Not dramatic, not violent, just deliberate. A physical reminder. Access granted. Access removed. Her mother stared at the badge, understood immediately. Sometimes power doesn't sound like screaming. Sometimes it sounds like paper touching plastic inside a silent hospital room. The monitor beeped again. Steady, certain, and for the first time in years, Ava Bennett wasn't waiting to be chosen by her own family. She was choosing herself.